My fellow Americans, our nation is at a crossroads of history when the cry for strong and vigorous leadership is heard throughout the land. Now there are some who would look at my past and say, why? I choose to look at my past and say, so what? That is why tonight I am honored and invigorated to announce live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Hello and welcome to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. We're Gary Seath and Brad Robinson.
And you're not.
This week on the early years of SNL, we're talking about Season 5, Episode 3, with host Bill Russell and musical guest Chicago. This show originally aired on November 3rd, 1979. Brad, did you know Bill Russell played basketball?
That I did know.
Okay, good.
With only one ball. He plays with only one ball.
That's right. Who better for us to have with Bill Russell as host of the show than our former British correspondent, now our NBA correspondent, Thomas Senna is back.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I guess the cat's out of the bag. I have a confession for you, for the listener. I'm neither British nor English, and I thought I'd get that off my chest here. Season 5, I want a clean slate, and I've been lying to the people. So I apologize. I missed out on Eric Idle on purpose because I just didn't want to lie to the audience anymore.
That's fair. You missed a decent... it was a good episode of Eric Idle to miss.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't let Eric hear you say that.
Yeah, we'll tweet that out. But Thomas, you are an NBA fan, yes?
Yes, I'm a huge NBA fan. That's aside from podcasting and SNL, like the NBA is my number one kind of hobby. I'm all over NBA League Pass. I love NBA history. So I was looking at the season 5 slate and I was like, I got to get in on that Bill Russell episode. So I'm curious. I had never seen this episode before either. So
great.
Yeah, I wanted to see how it compared to like the most recent NBA guys like LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I know both hosted episodes. So I wanted to see how Bill Russell compared to them.
Well, we should say, season 5, let's enough of the jokes. We said, let's get our friends in we want to talk to and pick your episodes. And we did. Thomas picked Bill Russell. We were like, any episode you want, Thomas, pick it. You want Steve Martin? What do you want to do? And he's like, I want to do Bill Russell. I was like, okay.
Yes. Yeah. I've talked about Steve Martin so much throughout my SNL podcasting, talked about Eric Idle, like all the big hosts I've talked about. So I thought I want to go in with an episode and a host that like I've never really discussed. So here we are, Bill Russell.
Nice. And no one else we'd rather have as our first guest of season 5.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. And Bill Russell is an interesting choice, not just for you to pick to talk about, Thomas, because you're right. Like, this is an episode that's not really talked about all that much, but it is
There's
unique.
There's a reason for that.
well, yes, but also, what we had Fran Tarkenton a couple seasons ago, but Fran Tarkenton was an active player who was whatever. He wasn't one of the best of all time. Bill Russell is an 11-time NBA champion, one of the best players of all time, especially at this point in the late 70s.
At this point, he might have been considered the best of all time. I think
probably, right? In the late 70s?
Yeah, he would have had an argument, yeah.
Yeah. But he hadn't played in 10 years at this point. He had just wrapped up his coaching stint with Seattle a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of out there, and I just thought this was an interesting choice of a person to pull in because he's kind of not, he's not an active, relevant NBA player or coach.
He's got a book out, as we'll see near the end of the episode. He does have a memoir that came out recently, so he's, pushing a book, but
I think he's doing broadcasting still at this point. But you're right. No, that's one of the things that stuck out to me too, Gary. I was like, I had to look. I'm like, was he a current coach? Was he still coaching Seattle? 79. So I'm like, no, Lenny Wilkins was coaching Seattle. At that point, they were coming off a championship. I don't want to bore you guys. NBA geek here.
Honestly,
Seattle
not
used to
Bill
have a
Russell.
team. They were called the Seattle Supersonics.
I am actually a Supersonics fan.
I'm pretty
Thank
sure
you. I
that
don't know if
anyone
you knew
listening
that,
to this
Brad.
show thinks there's still a team in Seattle and is now confused that you said there was a team, Brad.
Wait, what?
Wait, when did they?
Yeah.
We might
No,
be
but
the
this-
only 3 people who knew that Seattle's no longer a team.
Yeah, no, you're right, Gary. It was an interesting choice. I had to double check, and he was doing some broadcasting, so I will give him that. He does have the memoir.
But to the broadcasting point, not the most like vibrant personality on the screen.
No,
Which I think he's even commented himself, like he's not the best broadcaster. And it's,
Mhm.
I've always felt like to Bill Russell, maybe not as much as Kareem, but like kind of a frosty presence, like not the most outgoing and heartwarming
like
sports star. I don't know.
not outgoing, like nice guy.
Yeah.
Except for like when he was on the court and stuff, he had played with an edge, but
Oh,
nice
yeah.
guy. Kareem was frosty.
Yeah.
Kareem, of like in his later years, he's been more affable. He's been like showing his personality. But when he was a player, Kareem was not a nice guy. Bill
No.
Russell, nice guy, but just not like Mr. Personality, I wouldn't say.
But he does try to have fun. I mean, he comes into this seemingly wanting to have fun and to
He does.
enjoy himself.
100%.
I always enjoy that, especially when it's a non-actor, non-performer coming in and just willing to do whatever. And it appears like he's trying to have fun with the whole thing. He laughs a lot.
He does. No, that's really all I'm looking for with like, especially an athlete host, because athletes are generally pretty stiff. They're kind of, you can tell they're a little scared up there. For an athlete host, I'm just looking like, are you just prepared to have a good time? Are you happy to be there, first of all? Or does
Right.
it look like you're there like at gunpoint, you know? And Bill was really happy to be there. Like, that's what I appreciated about him. If nothing else, it seemed like he was really wanting to have a good time in this episode.
He wanted to. I give you that. I feel like this is the third athlete. You mentioned Gary. We had Fran Tarkenton and OJ. I've got to
Oracle.
say, as far as
I
as
blocked
far as
that
the
one
host
out.
themselves, probably my least favorite of the host performance. I just couldn't get past his stiffness in every sketch he was in. He tried. I agree with you that he tried.
Yeah, I think a big part of that though is that he's a giant man.
He is
He's
huge.
6'10".
He's
Like
huge.
Fran Tarkenton and OJ were large men, but they blend in with the cast, right? And they weren't so.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so weird.
No, my first
being
note
that
when he walked
giant.
out for the monologue was like, "Holy shit, that's a big dude!" like he is just
Yeah.
big. Yeah,
Still
you're
the
right.
tallest to this day. He's still the tallest SNL host of all time.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thomas
he still
with the
has that
stats.
going for him. Yeah, look at me.
Yeah,
Watch out, Mike Murray.
yeah. I give him credit for coming on the show and
Okay.
enjoying himself. I mean, I think he did
Okay.
enjoy himself. I just think he's not an actor, and that
No,
he's not the first non-actor on the show that was a little stiff.
He was better than some actors that I've seen on the
That's
show.
also true. Yeah. Well, should we get into it?
let's do it.
All right. So the cold open starts at Faneuil Hall in Boston on November 7th, 1979, which is a few days in the future.
Yes.
And there's a crowd gathered for some sort of press conference we see, and everyone's looking for Teddy Kennedy. And eventually Bill comes up as Ted Kennedy, soaking wet with like pieces of seaweed on him. And immediately I wrote down, wasn't Chappaquiddick 10 years ago?
Yes. Yes.
I had to look up the date for
I did too.
Chappaquiddick.
Yep,
I'm like,
did too. Like I feel this is a long time ago.
Yeah. And he comes up and he is all disoriented, and Jane plays his mother, Rose Kennedy. And
No,
look, the whole
Lorraine.
thing is, what's that? Oh, I said Jane.
Lorraine.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Lorraine.
Jane's the one in the car.
Jane, yes, Jane. So everyone's looking for this. There's so much going on here. There's so many people on stage. Eventually, Bill seems out of it. They're all looking for Joan,
hmm
and he keeps saying she's in the car. She's in the car. Again, this is the Chappaquiddick joke. And then Jane comes on and says, "I was parking the car." And then eventually, Ted Kennedy, or Bill, goes on to announce his candidacy, but instead he announces live from New York. It was a long way to get there.
It
And-
It was
was
a long way. I thought it was a solid cold open, though. I actually did, even though it took a little long. I liked the callback to Chappaquiddick, but I like the swerve. I like that they just didn't say, oh, it was part Chappaquiddick again. You know, I did like the swerve of like, he thought he was going to be running late, so he just tried to swim across Boston Harbor.
What you call him, like Flipper here, jumps into the harbor.
Yes. It just felt, I don't know, it felt like, oh, we're hanging on to this 10-year-old joke, and this senator at the time who's about to run for president, and was like, oh, are we getting this joke out of the way, or are we going to hang on to this for this whole presidential run? Was kind of my feeling watching it.
I get the point of the joke, though, because he does on November 7th officially announce his candidacy. So I get the idea of you're going to play up Ted Kennedy, and if you're going to make a joke on it, why not be Chappaquiddick?
Do you think since it had been about 11 years prior, was it kind of a cheap shot? Not like it matters. I don't like they should still do it if they think it's funny, but was it a little bit of a cheap shot since it was like past a decade old?
I don't know what else you have to make fun of him with, though.
He's been a senator for a long time at this point.
Yeah.
Like, there are other things you can make fun of Ted Kennedy for than just Chappaquiddick from 10 years ago.
I thought it was an uneven start, because you're like, this is really, like, to your point, Gary, this is what they're going to do. But when he starts talking and Lorraine kind of nonchalantly starts peeling off the seaweed off his jacket and throwing it on the ground, I thought it was a great touch. It was like just subtle enough. And it really then I bought into the sketch. I'm like, okay, it's funny. And I like what they were doing with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's something that won me over, I think.
Yeah.
And that's part of it too, like Jane doing that. When he says, there are some that may look at my past and say, why? I choose to look at my past and say, so what?
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a great line. Like this cold open did win me over. I guess I'm just scarred because I have low expectations for cold opens. Maybe it's just because of SNL of the present.
Right.
But if I don't totally hate a cold open, then I'm like happy. And this was good.
There was a whole segment that I skipped over where Jim Downey dressed as Dave Powers comes on and starts monologuing. And the audio gets a little mixed up there because
it does.
And that kind of screws things up. But he just keeps going and going. And that was another part where I was just like, why are we throwing this in? I feel like there's a lot of that this week, where there's a lot of like sidebars and a lot of people on screen that I'm just like, what are we doing with this?
Just stretching stuff out a bit. Yeah. But it gave a good setup, and it's, are you ready for your announcement? Which then you knew where it was going, and it kind of set everything up really well. And I like, the lines Thomas quoted. It was nice. It gave him a little bit of something else to say instead of just walking up to the microphone and saying live from New York. I like how they gave him a little bit more. So I agree with Thomas. Pretty decent open.
Yeah. And this has to be the most prosthetics that Jim Downey's ever had to endure in his life, I would guess.
I assume so. Yeah.
He was like caked.
No, it took me a minute to realize who it was. Yeah.
Also, a lot of Tom Davis in this sketch and throughout the night, but this is where it started. And I was like, oh, we're starting with Tom Davis. All right.
Season 5, it's a mishmash. That's the thing about SNL season 5 is like, it's kind of jarring. Certain people appear on screen and you're like, whoa, I forgot they were in season 5 a lot.
Oh,
a lot. Yeah.
That happens about 2 sketches from now. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, then we get the monologue, and Bill Russell comes on, and like you said, Brad, my first note was, damn, he's tall.
I thought, man, he's a big dude.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like thinking about, home base and where other people are during their monologue, like where the camera line is. And I was like, yeah, you never see that part of the wall. All right. His monologue was not great. He talks about the show being like a team where the writers pass it off to the director, passes it off to the actors, and really they rely on the host.
He was trying.
Man, when they have to go with a teamwork sports analogy for the monologue right here, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
They're already leaning into that so hard. And it's good that it was short and simple.
It was short.
I guess. But yeah, we're going with the basketball teamwork analogy. Like, that's rough. He looked really nervous. I said he looks huge and he looks nervous.
Yeah.
I think he looked nervous and just...
Oh.
And this is a guy that's played in so many big games. He won 11 championships, and he's nervous as hell going on SNL.
He's out of his element, right? Like he's not an actor. He's not a comedian. He's a basketball player and coach. And he's talking to the camera, which he never would do.
He makes a comment that it'll be the best comedy show he's ever done. And we should say, if you look back, he did do a sketch on the old Flip Wilson show, which is actually not that bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're with Flip Wilson and Flip's running, carrying the weight on that. But it's like, it was funny. I went back to look at it. It was like, okay, he could do it if he's got the right parts around him.
Stay tuned. After season 5, Gary and Brad will be running through the Flip Wilson show, sketch by sketch. That'll be fun. After the monologue, we get a pre-tape commercial for Banshee. When funerals are taking up too much of your time, it's a little speaker that they send to the funeral to represent you. I thought it was kind of funny. This whole premise was funny.
The
and
idea
the guy,
is funny. The idea is really funny. Yeah.
And the guy in the I guess at the funeral who's like looking at his watch and just annoyed that he's sitting through this funeral.
He's missing his tea time or something.
Yeah.
Because they say it's a time of incredible sadness, a time of incredible inconvenience.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you tired of going to funerals for distant relatives or people you may have met once or whatever? It was funny. And then it says they have a pre-recorded speakers. So one's Irish and the crowd loved that one.
They've got 5. I missed it. They had 5. And this joke's actually funny enough. The laughter drowned out 2 of
You
the
missed
dialogue.
it because the audio sucked.
The audio sucked. And the audience went crazy with the Irish one.
Yeah.
Irish was first.
Right.
I thought it was Italian second, but I'm not positive.
I don't know.
Then
I
Protestant,
thought so.
then Black, then Jewish.
Oh, I missed the Jewish too. Okay. Yeah, I missed the second of it. Okay.
Which begins, this was a very racial episode.
Yeah.
Well, they
that
that tend to do
definitely
that when they get a
begins it.
non-white dude on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really lean into it.
I mean,
they do.
Well, that was the other one that the audience really liked was the pre-recorded Black one was, I'm going to get that cop that did this. It was like, wow, that's spot on.
Was this November 1979? Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was fun.
I liked it. That was a really
Yeah.
good pre-tape. Yeah, it was good.
I like the concept a lot. I was annoyed with the audio, but I really thought it was a good concept.
Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed that, just sit back because you have a 12-minute sketch to sit through next.
It is long.
It is The Black Shadow. Now, The White Shadow was a popular TV show at the time.
There you go.
So,
yeah, you got that.
It was.
Yep. So the premise of this is, and I'm not going to hit every beat here, Brad. So let's not try to do that because Thomas has to be somewhere else at some point.
Just plays the reverse of White Shadow. They just turn White Shadow on its head.
Right. Bill Russell's the coach at the all-white high school.
Suburban all high school.
Yeah. But he is the one he's like selling drugs, hitting on the high school girls, stealing from them, harassing students, committing arson, shaking down freshmen for their lunch money, bets against his own team. And the whole thing starts in the locker room after a loss where the team is upset because he only played 3 players instead of playing all 5.
Trying to confuse the other team.
Bill Russell actually had a really good line delivery, but I don't know if he did it on purpose, so I don't know how much credit to give him. But he had this really subtle line delivery where they were kind of questioning him about his actions, and he just kind of subtly says, "You guys don't ever get high. What do you know?" Like, I love that he just said that. Like,
I did catch that. I thought
squares.
that was great. Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
But I don't know
too.
if Bill Russell did that on purpose, though.
I think
but
he
that was
did.
just so
the way
perfectly delivered.
Yeah,
It was.
I felt like he did. He got that one
because he played the whole thing pretty like normal, like very like just his mannerisms and his tone of voice was all so normal.
Yeah,
for like the dirtbag coach that he was playing.
Jane's the principal of the high school, and she wants to fire him, but the team convinces her to keep him. And then he's in the hallway hitting on Lorraine, and then a pregnant Gilda comes on.
Gilda, the funniest thing I've watched this episode so far is Gilda staring into the ceiling to find his eyes. Like you're talking about the height. It was the funniest thing watching her just crane her neck to see his face.
And I will give Gilda credit for she probably hammed that up because she's like a comedic genius.
That's
so
funny.
she probably did and it was funny. It was
Yeah.
the right approach.
Yeah. And with that big belly too, and the way she was walking and staring up at him, it all worked really well.
Curtis Jr.
And then the team confronts him again, and he said that he didn't go to practice because his mother was sick. So the team decides to go to his mother's house.
To the mother.
Yeah. And
This is about where I thought the sketch was going to end. But we just had a whole narrative that we had to explore.
Oh, no. Not when you've got Garrett Morris on side stage.
Mhm.
Come on.
Yeah. Not when you can throw Garrett in drag and turn him into Bill Russell's mother. And then we go and and then we watch a bunch of basketball. So they then like talk to him and Garrett as his mother kind of straightens him out. And then they go and we see canned basketball footage.
Before that game, though, Tom Davis does give one of the best readings of a horrible line when he goes, "We want to win that big game tomorrow night against the visitors." It's like the worst line, and it's so funny.
So good.
Yeah. I assumed this was a Franken and Davis piece because there was a lot of Franken and Davis in this.
Of course.
And then at the end, there was a post-sketch crawl.
Which I did like the return to the fake freeze frame where everybody freezes in motion for, as you mentioned, a very long crawl.
Very long crawl. And they all stood there. And some of the, did you see Franken? Did you notice Franken? Like
Franken's the one you can tell, yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. And I like that they zoomed out after the sketch. They zoomed out, and then you could see in the studio the cast still holding,
and there's
still on the set. This is the behind the scenes SNL geek in me just like appreciated them showing that.
I loved that they held it that whole time too. Like it was great. It was awesome. But this was a very long sketch with a lot of sets, a lot of extras. There was a lot in this.
Yeah. I wrote it was a tough one, and I feel like you're just not getting anyone other than really Bill who's doing anything close to interesting in the sketch. Gilda a little bit. Thomas made a good point. Gilda sold her 10 seconds she had, but there's to your point, Gary, there's so many people in the sketch, and nobody really bringing anything. And I thought, and Russell's just really stiff.
But was that a direction? Like, did they tell him to just play it like low key and normal, or is he just a stiff performer and it happened to work a couple of times?
I think it's
in the sketch.
More the latter. I think.
I mean, he had a couple, like you said, Thomas. He had a couple of good deliveries in this sketch. I also I don't know. It just felt like a big time filler with very, very little payoff.
It wasn't worth all the sets and utilizing like every person in the building to be in the sketch. Yeah.
No, yeah. It just felt like.
Do you like the running joke of him deflecting everyone's criticisms by saying it's because I'm black, isn't it?
Right. And then
but
at the end,
he used that
it
line
was kind of
Garrett,
funny.
on
He
his mom.
He used it on his mom.
He did use it on. Yeah, that was funny.
This was just too long. Like I think it wasn't terrible, but it just wore out its welcome. Like at least halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, there was a point where you thought the sketch was over, and then it was like, oh no,
right.
no. I liked that they were like, oh, let's go after the white shadow. It's relevant at the time.
Yeah, it's true.
It makes sense with Bill Russell.
Makes total sense.
Just the way in which it happened didn't. There was too much.
I feel like we're gonna say that a lot this episode, but go on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're gonna say that in the next sketch too, where we're watching the Landers Files. So Ann Landers comes on, played by Jane.
Jane again.
So she's reading a letter to camera from a recent widow. And this whole premise is, the setup is that it's a woman who's recently widowed, just buried her husband, and now is writing to Ann Landers because a series of things all happened the day of the funeral. And now we're seeing like the reenactment of all of this happening. So the widow's played by Gilda. And first, it's her brother-in-law comes, played by Paul Schaefer.
That was
what I mean. You're like, whoa, season 5, Paul Schaefer.
This is exactly what I was referring when you mentioned it. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. He stops by to tell her that the family thinks it was her constant nagging that sent her husband to an early grave, and he doesn't approve of how she's bringing up her daughter. Then we go back to Ann Landers.
Mm-hmm.
She gives us a choice, ABC, of what we think of this interaction and how the widow should respond. And then we go to the second part of the letter where the daughter's boyfriend comes to move in and will be sleeping in her room. And again, back to Ann Landers. How does this feel? ABC. And then we get the third piece of this. Again, this all happens in one day. Tom Davis. A lot of Tom Davis tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in to proposition Gilda.
Hi, anybody home?
Hi, John. Not his real name.
I just thought I'd drop by unexpectedly.
Well, to be perfectly frank, you picked a very bad time. I just got back from my husband's funeral.
Wow, that's too bad. Well, would you like to go out on a date with me tonight?
Gee, I don't know.
Well, make up your mind, suit yourself, because don't expect me to wait around that long. Either go all the way with me now or maybe lose me forever.
I really like you, but shouldn't I wait 3 or 4 months before I start dating again?
If you were Ann Landers, will you say the self-proclaimed Don Juan has A, a bee in the bonnet, B, bats in the belfry, or C, a pistol in his pocket? The correct answer, B, bats in the belfry. If she lets this creep in the house, she deserves all she gets. And she gets plenty.
This is another premise where I thought Gilda made it work. Like when she would ask the question to camera and then make a face, I thought that worked.
Yeah, she was great in that part.
I thought Jane did a good job as Ann Landers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just thought the other pieces of this didn't exactly hit necessarily.
Well, it's hard when your male leads are Paul Schaefer and Tom Davis. And I love Tom Davis.
Yeah.
And this came across, and I don't know, this might have been part of the point as far as tone that they were going for, but this came across more like a skit to me than a sketch. Like, this is something that I imagine a high school class, like, writing, you know, based off of an Ann Landers column or whatever. Like, if you told some high school English class, write a skit based on Ann Landers' letters, but like, this is something that they would come up with. So this read and felt like a skit more so than a sketch.
Interesting. All right.
But I don't know if that was like part of the point. Like, they were purposely kind of hamming it up, and maybe some of the dialogue was that way, but it didn't really hit for me. And I think you're right. Like, Jane was good. Obviously, she's always good, but just the whole, it didn't come together for me. And I think that's because what I felt like I was just watching like a high school performance.
I had that take, but I thought it was because of the performance. Like I mentioned, Paul Schaefer, Tom Davis. I like, this would have been a great sketch for Bill to be in, or even Harry Shearer, you know, in that second role. It was just very odd that it was Paul Schaefer and Tom Davis. I thought Gilda was great as like you said, Gary, the woman writing the letters, and like being in the scene and then just taking that turn to start narrating the letters, I thought was really great. She just didn't have anything to really play off of, you know, as far as a counterpoint. So, and yeah, Jane was great, you know, doing the Ann Landers. So I think it was the actor's performance. I thought his premise was funny and decently written. I just thought it was acting.
It was an odd choice.
Yeah, Jane did end it. Like, I think the sketch ended, or near the end, it was really funny when Jane said, "I hope everyone enjoyed peeking at one woman's private hell."
Yes.
Like, I thought that I really appreciated that line. That was really funny. That's something that a high school sketch troupe or whatever probably wouldn't have written. So top marks for them.
That was a shame. It is a weird choice when you have Harry Shearer and Bill Murray to not have them as the brother-in-law and then the whatever you want to call that guy. Yeah, so odd choices, but I liked the premise, like the foundation. Again, I feel like we've been saying that a lot this season, though. Well, from here we get Thomas's. I don't know. Is this your favorite band? Where does this in order of your top 70s bands, Thomas? I assume this is really why you're here this week. Not Bill Russell. It's Chicago.
You guys are like typecasting me. Like,
yes.
What?
I mean, how many times have you been on this show?
Just because it's a whole stage of funky white guys.
Yes. Which one of these guys did you dress up as for Halloween?
Peter Cetera.
Yeah, of course.
Because this was one of the definitive Peter Cetera performances, I would say. Like, mid 80s Glory of Love era Peter Cetera.
He's the dude on the right? The bass player? That's him?
He's the bass player.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the one. He's the one that,
the second vocalist? The one who's trying to be Michael McDonald?
Hey,
That guy?
yes, that's Peter Cetera. The second one, yeah, he was the second one on this song. I'm a man.
Yeah.
Of course, I love this. This is
Oh
right
my
up my
God.
alley. Jeez, and one could argue. I'm not going to argue this, but one could argue that this was one of the more pivotal performances by any band in SNL history.
Yeah, do you know
Oh.
why? I believe right after this song, disco showed up. Because of this song. Because of this performance, we got disco.
You're blaming Chicago
Yes,
for disco?
I am now. I wasn't until I watched this performance.
Well, okay, so this was a band that was in flux, and their whole career, their trajectory was riding on this one performance. As we all know, Terry Kath, they lost Terry Kath the year before, right? So they're kind of juggling with lineups. Donnie Dacus replaced him. Peter Cetera. So Chicago's just trying to find themselves. Who's gonna replace Terry Kath? Where are we going from here? Now we're on SNL, right? So they had everything, Brad, riding on this performance, and damn it, did they nail it?
Wait, can I ask a question then?
Please.
I have a question too.
If everything is riding on this performance, why
Everything.
why did they perform a song from their first album 12 years earlier that's a cover of another of Spencer Davis Group song?
Follow-up question. Did anyone understand a single word they said?
Brad, I'll take your question first. No.
Okay, thank you.
Fair.
Aside from
That's
the chorus,
fair.
which did take me... Listen, I
Not
had to watch
really.
this performance twice. And I have never done that before because I
You
could
didn't
not
have
believe what
to.
I was...
You chose to.
I did.
chose
I
to.
chose. I could not believe what I was watching or hearing because I couldn't understand any of them.
You wanted to watch that sweet bongo breakdown again.
Yeah.
There is literally a guy playing cowbell on this song for the whole time.
There was.
That's because
You're
they have
correct.
8 people in the band.
I
And
counted as well.
there's not a lot to do. There's not enough for 8 people to do covering this song. Why, Thomas, did they play a cover on this pivotal performance for them?
I think it was Terry Kath's favorite song that they would cover, and it was in honor of him.
Really?
Now, there's no confirmation for that. That's just what
Okay,
I
this
choose.
is your-
That's the
okay.
narrative that I choose to believe.
All right.
Serious question. Were they really at a pivotal point? I thought Chicago was like huge at this time. Were they honestly?
They
at a pivotal
were
point?
huge. Yeah. No, they were pretty
Okay.
big.
I
This
thought they were
was-
like, in looking, I'm like, oh,
they
there's a
did
lot of, like,
genuinely
top
lose their
teen
lead
songs.
singer, like one of their lead
Okay.
singers the year prior. So it was kind of an interesting, like they were still kind of going forward with just like Peter Cetera and the new guy singing.
Yeah.
Of course, this is right up my alley. Like sign me up for a bunch of funky white guys getting down on SNL.
I mean, I will say, Thomas, about a minute into this, my first note was this could be the greatest performance of the best song we have seen to date. And then I realized it was just all cocaine.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's 1979, man. Like, of course. That goes without saying. I
It was an
think.
amazing, like, out of the gate performance.
They brought
Couldn't
it,
believe
I
it.
think.
I could not believe it.
I unironically did enjoy this performance.
Oh my God.
I didn't mind this performance. I did this weekend before watching the episode. I was like, oh, Chicago's on the show. I should listen to some Chicago to brush up on my Chicago. I listened to 2 songs and I was like, no, I'm good.
No, I listened to 2 songs. I don't care what 2 songs it is.
No,
you
that's
got
exactly
the
right.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the idea.
Does not matter.
Chicago's a fun. I saw them in the early 2000s with Earth, Wind, and Fire, and they're fun, really fun live band. But you just know what you're getting when you listen to Chicago.
Yes.
Oh, it was a total fun performance. I agree. Like they were all over the place, like off the wall. Legitimately couldn't understand anything they were singing,
Mm-mm.
but they were selling it. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
I will say, I thought in both performances tonight, I felt really bad for the drummer because he was the only one keeping his shit together.
He did look in the second tune. He looked like he was like pissed at everybody because he's like trying to play like the shit on the drum and like keeping the beat during a solo. And he's like, I hate all you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
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 He's like,
I
he's the
agree.
only one taking it seriously the whole
Yes,
time.
yes. He's the only professional on that
Yeah,
stage.
Which means he's missing the point, in my opinion. But
Maybe,
you
but
know,
maybe without him, it all just falls apart. And then you're relying on the bongo player. That's probably what he's pissed at the most. He's like, I got these fucking bongos in my ear trying to play the drums.
And we're giving these bongos like it's like a true solo.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it was a really
2
fun
thumbs up.
performance.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Good performance by all 8 guys on stage. That's what's always made me laugh about Chicago is how many people.
They're half the population of the actual city.
Yes, they are. It was originally, what was it? Originally Chicago Transit Authority. It was like,
Yeah.
Transit Authority, yeah.
yeah. It was all the management of Chicago's Transit Authority. Is that why it's so large? So many people in this fucking band. And every time someone leaves, they just replace them. They never at one point in the band's history are like, well, we can do with 7 people or less. No.
The show must go on, Gary.
Yes. Well, that leads us into Weekend Update this week, which is brought to us by the estate of Elvis Presley. Just a lot of jokes. They just ran through a bunch of jokes this week about Eleanor Roosevelt and her lesbian pen pal, the Shah of Iran, Canadian Prime Minister. And then we go to Lorraine on
Holy
location.
crap.
1979, baby.
Oh boy. But this wasn't even this
This was not even
couldn't
a
have been good in
week.
1979 either.
This hadn't even happened a week before.
Yeah.
So they're going to, she goes to a Korean surprise dinner party, which is Gilda and Tom Schiller, right? It is Schiller,
Tom
It's
Schiller, yeah.
Yeah.
as a Korean couple explaining to her Korean dinner party. Now, this all comes off of the assassination of the president of South Korea earlier this week on October 26th. He was killed at a dinner party in the Korean CIA safe house. He was killed by the director of the Korean CIA.
Yeah, it was a surprise. I watched the sketch.
Yeah, this sketch was, I don't know.
What is it? Was it even okay in 1979? Because those voices,
I mean,
Schiller
no,
and
but
Gilda
that's what
were
they
doing
do.
like
This is not the first time they've done something like this.
it's not. But yeah, I bet they asked Leo to be a part of this, and he's like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "You guys got it from here. I don't want to.
I want nothing to do with this.
one."
I'm not even
Yeah.
doing the sets.
No. I don't know how this was okay even in 1979.
It kind of fits the theme of the episode, though. Like they started off, I think, or was one of the first couple jokes about the story about the black mare. So they were just really leaning. But
Yeah, they
Bill
had
ended with a good
intro-
line.
They had a very interesting joke about the blackface joke. I was like, oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
primer for this sketch. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Bill's
bit.
line about the black mare was that city council immediately doubled the salary when they found out it was
Yes.
actually a white guy. That was
Yes.
funny. That was a fun commentary. There was no commentary in the surprise Korean dinner party piece.
No.
Oh no,
that I
no
can find.
commentary. But I just.
Why did you
it
like
does-
this,
it-
Brad?
I didn't know.
Careful,
I didn't
Brad.
like it.
No,
I
no.
didn't like it.
Let him
but
go, Thomas.
Okay.
This is an easy one where you're just gonna like rip on it like it doesn't age, which I agree it doesn't age well at all. Actually, my second note was where was this sketch on the 50th when they had that Alec Baldwin montage of like all the stuff they did? Like this is one of the worst instances we've seen. How did they not put this sketch up when they were talking about all the things they got canceled for or whatever?
I just wrote wow. I think 1, 2, 5 times in my notes I wrote wow. Every time Gilda opened her mouth, I was like, wow.
Well, what was the sketch we saw? Who does the host when Gilda did the other? She's done like not a Korean character, but she did the
She's done other Asian characters.
yeah, it's
so,
like where they were Bill and somebody was talking to like the embassy or whatever, and she was somebody in the lobby, and we've done and Lorraine's done her Indian character to
Yeah,
you know,
but like this
groans.
to
There's
me
been a storied
They've done
history
it.
of
Yeah, they
in
were
SNL
sure, but
doing
like
this, yeah.
the whole the premise is because the president of the country was assassinated. So a week earlier, so I don't really know how this flies as a joke at all.
oh that's your
That's the beginning of it.
Right.
Yeah, we go back to more jokes. I thought there was a funny joke I thought of a blind horse running, and it was just a horse running into a gate. Then they call back to the Pope and the pizza.
That was good, keeping that gag going.
And then Bill sings happy birthday to a light bulb because it was the 100-year birthday of the light bulb.
I enjoyed that. I like seeing Bill like crooning, which I guess was a good segue, but I like when Bill sings, so I enjoyed that.
I liked it. I mean, we've seen it before, 4 or 5 times now, Gary? But what I liked about it was it that felt like the first time this season, and we're only 2.5 episodes in, but it felt like the first time we've seen Bill be Bill this season. Like he was having
At the
fun.
desk. Yeah.
Just no, in general. Just in general
Yeah.
on the show. The first 2 episodes, he's felt kind of just like out of place or not wanting to be there. And this just felt for the first time like the Bill Murray we've seen since he's been on the show. And I liked that. And then it was a nice segue, into the next sketch.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bill being Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get Nick Borealis. So we get Nick the Lounge Singer at a military post in Greenland. He's on the USO tour, and this airbase in Greenland it's all black troops. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
I think Swibell's in the background, though.
Is he?
I think
I
he's
didn't
in the
see
last
him.
You said
row.
Zwybel is?
I think he is, yeah. I think I caught him there.
The only change really is that Howard Shore's up there playing percussion of some sort with Paul. But this is a long, I thought it felt like a long Nick, the Lounge Singer. But I think it's because, there was no banter with the audience. The only audience members he went to were Garrett and Bill. And again, there are a lot of extras in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yes, it's the continuation of the crooning that you like so much, Thomas. Did you enjoy this sketch?
Yeah, I just like seeing somebody play a character that they've absolutely mastered. Like they're just such in complete control. I love seeing Bill working the room. I actually thought this was Bill Russell's best performance possibly. I thought he was like pretty decent in kind of the limited stuff that he had. It went on a little long, but there was enough here for me to still enjoy. I laughed when Bill Murray said it, like all seriously. He's like, I hate it when man turns against man. And then he started singing like war was what is it good for? And like just
good.
like how he can maintain that momentum and change tone just perfectly when he needs to. And we see Yvonne Hudson.
Yep.
I don't know how often we get to see Yvonne Hudson in the sketch, but that was nice. So I really did enjoy this one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, I'd say. It's hard to bring something new, especially this particular character when we've seen it now, I think 7, 8 times. And I think it's even harder when you get a setup like this and a host who don't bring much to it. I mean, I agree. I think Bill Russell is one of his better performances of the sketch, but he doesn't give you a lot. And like you said, Gary, he's not interacting with that many people or that many different people in different ways. So there's just not a lot to it, which made it feel longer. But again, I liked seeing Bill, like you said, Thomas, like doing something he's mastered and seeing something like we're familiar with it, and Bill enjoying himself.
Usually, the set has different tables and chairs for him to move around more. And this was just like rows of guys on boxes, and it was just him back and forth to the stage. And it didn't give you a lot to work with the cameras either to make it look like anything more.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like the gag of Jane and Lorraine and Gilda? They're there to dance for the troops and entertain them, but they had to wear parkas because it's so damn cold.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, we got more of Jane again in our next sketch.
She's all over this episode.
She is.
I love it. She's in like everything.
Well, she should be.
I think she's been in everything up to this point.
I think so.
Yeah.
She plays Eleanor Roosevelt in the continuing correspondence of Eleanor Roosevelt. So we heard on Weekend Update about Eleanor Roosevelt's love letters to another woman. And this is Jane writing letters to B. Rothman, thinking that it's a woman that she's in love with. And it turns out that B. Rothman is a store where she's interacting with the collections department because she's not paying her bills on time. So first it's Lorraine, and then later it's Gilda. And eventually we see Harry Shearer come on as FDR.
Yeah, I believe this was Harry's first appearance of the night. Maybe, or was he in something earlier?
His voice was in something. I mean, he did the voiceover on something, but yeah, I think this is the first time we see him on screen. Yeah. Which is surprising with that whole basketball with the Black Shadow, that he was the only person in 30 Rock not on camera.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I guess this story about Eleanor Roosevelt and Lorena Hickok was like big time in the news because they referenced it on Weekend Update.
Yeah.
As well. So that was, and I didn't know in this sketch if they were saying that this is how the letters were made public or this is how Eleanor corresponded with everyone. Like I was kind of confused on that, even though it was kind of funny. Like I thought it was a fine sketch, but I just didn't quite nail down like the angle that they were going for, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I thought it might go somewhere, especially when they got to Gilda and Gilda started like replying to the replies. Like, okay, maybe they're gonna what you're saying, Thomas, like explain the gag or make it, bring it home somehow. And then it just kind of like they brought Harry Shearer and his FDR and just ended. And I was like, where were they trying to go with it? Which was a bummer. Because I thought there was like an idea that started and just never got to where it wanted to go.
Yeah.
There's a lot to work with. I mean, that's a pretty damn interesting story, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's good sketch fodder, that story, I think. They didn't really quite land on like a viewpoint, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it got cut down. Like maybe there's more to it. And like with time or something, they cut some stuff out of it.
Got to fit that entire Black Shadow sketch in there.
Mm-hmm. That's your show pony, Brad. You can't cut from that.
You do not like this episode.
No, I'm enjoying this episode. It's just, I don't think choices were made where choices should have been made. Well, the choice to have Mr. Bill this early in the show was made, not late in the show. But we saw this, I guess, last week, too. It was earlier in the first week, the first episode. It wasn't late in the show. It starts out with Mr. Bill at home with Miss Sally saying that they're not going to go anywhere because they don't want to deal with Mr. Hand. And then Mr. Hand comes in, knocks on the door, knocks the door over and hurts Miss Sally. And then it's a Mr. Bill. He's not feeling well, so Mr. Hand takes his temperature, feels his pulse, and then calls in Dr. Sluggo.
Yeah, kind of, as we've said, it's kind of hard to bring new stuff to these. People loved them. It's one of the few things you could keep repeating from last season. Like you had the elements to keep repeating it, so I see why it's on there.
Is it like Mr. Bill is interesting to me. I always go into these thinking that I don't like them. And then I actually do end up chuckling like at all the harm done to that poor clay man.
Yeah.
But I wish Mr. Bill's voice didn't annoy me so much. Like I wish it wasn't such a screechy nails on the door. No offense to a friend of the show who created Mr. Bill, but like I just wish it was like maybe a different voice that wasn't so high pitched and annoying. Because like when this came on, I was like, oh, Mr. Bill, I know the beats, I know whatever, and then the damage is done to Mr. Bill, and I'm like, okay, that was kind of funny. Okay, and I'm kind of enjoying this. So it always surprises me, but I just can't get past that voice, I think.
That's interesting. I wonder if you watched it on mute, Thomas, how you would feel about it, if you would like it. Because I feel like the gags are all pretty visual. Like you don't.
Yeah,
need
I
to
feel like
hear
I would
what's
like
going
it
on.
much better. I agree with you, actually. And I feel like they would like if you like with you guys, like I have the luxury of not like watching these episodes, just like hammering them out like as often as you guys. So I can see like if you're just cranking out episode after episode, you're like, oh yeah, Mr. Bill, I know the beats. Yeah, okay, yeah. But I don't know. I do end up liking these just a touch more than I think I'm going to.
Well, I think you nailed it though, Thomas, because even though you know the beats, the actual gags themselves are different every time, and that's when it's funny. Like Brad said, seeing Spot under the table, that was a funny shot, and that's what you get in these, where you know what's going to happen, but what's he going to do unique in each one to make that particular shot or setup funny. And I think that's what you have to look out for. And maybe I'll watch it on mute next time and see.
Me too.
Yeah. Brad, you were talking about Bill Murray being Bill Murray, and I feel like we really finally get that in our next sketch when he does his sports call-in show. This time he's Eddie McVie, and his sports call-in show is all about sports that are not really sports that are familiar to the rest of us, sports like sticks and melons. And he has Bill Russell on as himself to promote his book that you mentioned, and he talks about basketball, and he wants Bill to explain basketball to his listeners who are probably new to basketball.
Well, what I want to know is who gets to use the glass bat first if they've both been red tagged?
Well, it's really quite simple, Sandy. The first one off the field is the last one to use the glass bat. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. Stupid question, though. Hello, Sports Hotline.
Eddie, what do you think of this kid Stevens? You think he'll make it?
Well, I'll tell you, he really showed me something last Friday. That movie put on the Taggart twins was really something. They never even got close to putting a hood over his head. I like the way the kid plays.
I don't know. I think he's too young.
I don't know what the hell you know. Thanks for calling, though. I'm going to stop for a minute here, and I'd like to introduce somebody who's my special guest here. His name is Bill Russell, and he is a basketball player. Did I pronounce that correctly, Mr. Russell?
Yeah, right. Basketball.
Yeah, well, anyway, I suppose most of my listeners are kind of new to your game, Mr. Russell. I thought it'd be refreshing to explain it to them.
Wait a minute. You don't know about basketball? You run a sports hotline show and you never heard of basketball?
No, I've heard of basketball. I just don't think a lot of the people out there at home have ever heard of the game. I mean, it's not like Sticks and Melons or anything.
Sticks and melons? What's that?
Sticks and Melons, you don't remember when you were a kid? Sticks and Melons, nobody gets caught. Oh, you don't want to get caught holding a melon. No, he's got the melon, you know. Now, we played Trellis, of course, but it's basically the same game.
Trellis? Melons? What are you talking about? This is supposed to be a sports show?
Well, not only is this a sports show, but I would be willing to bet that I have the most knowledgeable sports listeners in all radio.
I thought this was really funny. I think this is a really funny sketch. This is a sketch that I was familiar with coming into this episode. And I just think it's one of those sketches where you have to pay attention to the dialogue, and it's really funny. And I felt like part of it kind of felt rushed, especially when the callers call in. They felt like they're talking a little fast to not really hit the points home, unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought it was funny until Bill Russell came on the screen. And well, he's not the most dynamic performer, but they gave him nothing interesting to say. Like, I think it could have gone somewhere if they actually gave him something clever or anything interesting to like say to bounce back off of Bill's character. But it just came to a screeching halt for me when it just devolved into like him just out and out calling it out and saying, you don't know what basketball? That's basically the only thing they had Bill say the whole time is, I can't believe you guys don't know what basketball is. Like, they could have just had him repeat that for the rest of the sketch, and it would have amounted to the same thing. So it started off great, and I loved Bill, but dang, did it just like comes to a very, very screeching halt when Bill Russell came on, and then it just died. It went nowhere.
I agree. It was a funny idea, and I thought it was interesting, but yeah, Bill Russell couldn't pull it off, whether he didn't get the writing he needed or he just wasn't the performer. But it was enjoyable till then.
I don't think anybody could have pulled it off with that dialogue that they gave him. That was really crappy writing.
I agree.
I guess, yeah. What you think
No, I think the writing was crappy. I think like a better. It would have been funnier if he came on and was like, yeah, I wrote this book about basketball. We can talk about that, but I love Sticks and Melons, and like went into something like that.
Exactly. Like
he tried to do that at the end, didn't he? Wasn't there a question at the end? And again, you're talking about speed, Gary. I feel like he rushed his line at the end, and I missed what he said. Other than that, he like understood whatever random crazy sport they were talking about, but I couldn't understand what he actually said.
Like, you've already lost me if you're just going to put that as a tag to the sketch.
Yeah. I think it could have worked better if that was the premise of the sketch. Was if Bill was trying to pull him back into basketball, and he was more interested in like what the callers were talking about and did that rather than just sitting there and, like you said, Thomas, just saying like, I can't believe you don't know about basketball.
Yeah, or if it was revealed that he knew so much about Sticks and Melons that he could like provide the analog to basketball and compare the two,
right?
Or something. I don't know. Anything but like, how do these crazy people not know about basketball? Isn't that weird, everyone? Yeah.
Well, the next time the three of us are in person together, we will play a game of Sticks and Melons.
Please.
It'll be fun.
Just as long as Brad doesn't keep calling triple deuces throughout the whole game like he did last time.
Oh, we get our second instance of Harry Shearer on camera next as Joe Garagiola. He's coming on for Chrysler. He's talking about people losing money for people, talking about rebates that people were promised for buying Chryslers. So all you have to do to get your rebate is buy more Chryslers so that Chrysler has money to pay the rebates. I felt like this was something happening in 1979 that I wasn't around for, but I got it. I know what he was going for, and it felt very Harry Shearer.
Yes, because the only note I have for this sketch is Harry Shearer. So yeah, I agree, Gary. I agree with you. Yes,
That's a good note.
Funny.
thank you.
Yeah, that's a great note. Yeah, I actually didn't really get this sketch, and I had
Yeah.
to watch it again because this there was a lot of speech gymnastics, I guess, as far as and I think that's impressive, but I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I watched it again, and then I had to consult Google, and I looked up like Chrysler 1979 or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. So Chrysler received a government bailout in 1979.
Okay.
So that's what happened, and then everything made sense, and I actually I like this a lot more with more understanding of the context of the sketch.
This is all before Lee Iacocca at
Yes.
Chrysler. Well, that needed context for 1979. Chicago coming back on to play their song Street Player.
Woo.
That is 1979. You don't need context. This was the song where the drummer really stood out to me. He's playing that drum solo you mentioned, Brad. He's got the little cowbells, and he's just like, these idiot horn players are doing choreography to my right, and I'm trying to play a real fucking
made
song.
up. You can tell they just figured that part out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did a bump and decided to dance.
Yeah, 100%. It was later in the night. Absolutely. It was almost, at this point, it was almost freaking, 1 a.m.?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to do a bump and get down. I think, but this was a little less funky than the first song, though.
It was. This is also this is actually one of their songs, right? This is from their most recent album.
Street Player is the song. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. They did not have as much fun. They also haven't been playing this song for 11 years at this point. So
that's true. Yeah. And I think they did it because it's more of like a Peter Cetera showcase than anything. It's like the drummer and Peter Cetera. That's kind of their song. So
yeah.
So being like an elder statesman of the band, I think Cetera was like, yeah, give me a song that's more showcases me and not like the new kid in town.
Right.
I didn't enjoy it as much as I'm a Man, but it was still quality. It's Chicago.
I have a question to our resident Chicago expert. What happened to Chicago in the 80s? Because growing up, when I thought of Chicago, like I got that like greatest hits CD, probably from Columbia House, and it's got songs like "Will You Still Love Me," "Hard to Say I'm Sorry," "You're the Inspiration." It's like the saddest album ever.
Yeah.
How did they go from
Peter Cetera left?
I'm okay.
I mean, I'm
legitimately wondering what happened to this band, how they came from this to that.
I think that's kind of the answer. Peter Cetera left 85 to kind of pursue solo stuff. So, I think when you're like Robert Lamb kind of shouldered more of the duties of singing, I think he was less dynamic than Peter Cetera. And when they just got back to like, they became more of a touring act at a certain point. They were just more known for like, hey, let's go see Chicago. They're in town. And you don't really go buy Chicago's albums. You go see them live.
But these were big songs in the 80s, right? Like these sad sack songs.
I don't know.
No?
I mean, I think they did fine. But like Peter Cetera left the band because he wanted I read a quote from him. He wanted to be like Phil Collins was with Genesis, where he had his own solo career, but it could also still be part of the band. In Chicago, the band was like, no, you can't do that. And then in what I read, pretty quickly, Chicago regretted it and was like, oh, we should have let him do his thing because he was helping us write really good music.
I think they were both worse off for it. Yeah, they became a little sad. I don't know. That's a good observation, Brad.
I can remember being like a kid and having that CD and just listening to it. I'm like, these guys are depressing.
No, maybe this is more about Brad's childhood than Chicago.
I don't know about depressing. I think they were just a little more mellow.
Yeah.
They stopped doing coke.
I was going to say, maybe they stopped doing coke. Yeah.
Brad wishes that Chicago would have kept doing coke.
Yes, I do.
Good life choice be damned.
Well, our next sketch starts with Barry White. No,
I
it's
was gonna
Howard
say,
Johnson playing
I was going to
Barry
say
White.
Howard Johnson.
Howard Johnson.
They're just throwing anything up against the wall to see what sticks.
Everybody gets a paycheck for on-screen appearance this week.
Oh my God.
So he's playing Barry White and he's singing about his store, the Barry White Big and Tall That's All store. And then we go to Barry White's Big and Tall That's All store. And it's Bill Russell and Garrett running the store. And then we realize that they're in the mall. I don't think that was made clear, right? Until
when they showed
the new mall.
When they showed the logo, the Barry White Big and All, they had the Scotch tape store on the side. If you looked,
oh, did they?
Yeah, you could see it. It was the old
that.
Mall facade that they used to use. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then we're back at the mall, and Jane and Lorraine come in. They talk about Floyd, who was Dan's character, right? And Floyd's men's shop burnt down, and he was in jail because of arson. And Gilda and Bill had just come from visiting him. Yeah, I mean, it's another mall sketch where they're talking about their business is not doing well. Russell and Garrett, and
there's a callback to the Scotch tape, right? Wasn't there like a Scotch tape?
Yeah, a big guy comes in, and Bill's like, "Oh, I think you got a customer."
He's coming to find the Scotch tape.
The Scotch tape, sorry.
When are you going to open up the tape store? I mean, that is the funny thing about this series of sketches is that the very first one was the Scotch tape store that wasn't doing well, and it's the only one that's still thriving all the way through the end.
Thanks to Fred Willard, he had a vision.
I like the meta-ness of it, like the callbacks, but at this point, I had no interest in following whatever narrative was happening.
Oh, I liked it.
It was fine, but I think at this point, by the end of the episode, and I was still like, I don't know, we just saw Chicago, and even though it was not like a more slower song, I was still on a little high from seeing Chicago, so I don't know. I was just kind of like, it was a little dragging a little bit, but I appreciated it. It was like cute here and there, but it was just kind of dragging for me.
You're right. I enjoyed it more when it was over than while I was watching it. Like, if that makes sense. Because after it was over and I was like piecing it all together, and I'm like, oh, that was great. And like Floyd was Dan's character, and they came, and you could tell this was kind of the end of it. And I like the end. You know, the big guy comes in, looking for tape. I like the end of the story, and this is the last mall one we get.
It was all right.
I kind of wish it was funny that Jane and Lorraine played mall. They played the Puppy Town people, didn't they, back in the day? But they weren't them in this episode.
They weren't them.
Yeah, that was the one weird thing. But
you did see the height disparity in this because a lot of the cast was in it, and I was really surprised at how short Garrett is. Really. I just never. I knew he was short, but then he was standing next to Bill Russell, and he was playing the big guy. He had a fake belly on. I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, I guess when Garrett was in Martin, he never really towered over Martin Lawrence, who isn't a tall guy himself.
Right.
I don't think so. But yeah, you're right. Like everybody standing next to Bill Russell. That was just, yeah.
And that's it. That's our show. They come out for goodnights. Bill Russell just says goodnight, and they wave. Nothing else going on there. Yeah, I don't know. There were a lot of sketches in this. It felt like
there were,
even though one sketch took up a quarter of the show.
I don't know. This is another rough one. There's not much there.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Like, I like Bill Russell a lot, and he really, as Gary and I said at the beginning of the show, like it seemed like he really enjoyed hosting the show. Like he was all smiles and had good energy, or had a good spirit about him. Like he really wanted to be there, but I mean, he just wasn't that good of a host, and the writing wasn't good either. And I don't think a better host could have elevated most of this stuff.
I don't think so. I think this is a case of just the writing was not there this week. Because I feel like you had a few premises that were good, like the Ann Landers thing, some weird acting choices or performer choices in the show overall. But I do feel like Bill Russell tried and just like, when he was on the sports talk show with Bill, like he's laughing at Bill because Bill's funny. And he's just enjoying himself. And he's just like, well, fuck it. Whatever. This is fun.
That sketch really pissed me off. The more I think about it, the more pissed I am at that sketch.
At the way that it was written?
Yes.
I agree.
Did you like the aquarium behind his head and the football fish tank thing?
Football, yeah.
Which at the end, I'm like, did they not realize that was a football? Because they don't know what sports are? They just thought it was an actual fish tank?
Oh, that's funny.
I
think you're giving them too much credit.
They didn't put that much thought into this episode.
No. Well, you can't win them all. It would be nice if we won one this season, though.
We'll get there. Come on, we'll get there. Buck's on next week, right? Come on, we got hope.
Yeah. Well, Thomas,
Good luck, sir.
Mm-hmm.
what are your best bits?
Chicago, I'm a man.
No way, really?
Yes.
That's an honest answer.
Honest answer. I love that.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun watching that.
Okay, it was amazing.
It
was amazing.
That's my best bit.
It was amazing.
You think any of these sketches deserve? Yeah, no. Chicago, I'm a man.
Brad just got done bitching about the whole thing. You give an honest answer, Thomas, and he can't believe it, and then he's like, "It was amazing."
But it was. But it was pretty damn.
It wasn't amazing for all the wrong reasons. It was an amazing.
Brad,
performance.
you so badly in your soul want to hate this performance, but you couldn't do it.
No, it's amazing.
You enjoyed it. I know you did.
Oh, I
he
definitely
just wants
enjoyed
to
it.
be a funkier white guy, Thomas. That's what it
I
is.
need
So
to
he's
be
jealous.
I think so. Like, I'm secure in my funkiness, so I appreciate funky.
We're
white
well
guys
aware of
on
that.
my SNL stage.
We've seen Thomas wear a jacket without a shirt underneath. He is
Mhm.
secure. Well, Brad, what are your best bits?
I really liked the mall. I did. As a closing to that whole kind of arc and storyline, I liked the mall sketch. And I didn't know how to phrase it, but just Jane. Like seeing so much of Jane. Like she feels like she kind of like got her footing. She's in sketches. She's playing characters. She's doing impressions. Just Jane's performance overall. Nothing like huge, bright standing out, but just that she was in so much and so visible and doing so many different things.
I didn't know we were allowed to say cast members.
It's
We're not.
anything.
Because I agree, Jane.
I don't know.
Chicago, I'm a man, and Jane.
Like you're saying, Brad, Jane did so many different things in this episode. I mean, she did Eleanor Roosevelt. She did Ann Landers. She did Weekend Update. She did the thing in the cold open where, that wasn't really a character, but she was there. Yeah. She had a great episode.
I think so, yeah.
I was going to say the Ann Landers files thing because of Jane and Gilda. And I wish that they had made better choices with the other actors in that. But I think those two performances were really good. And they stood out for me amongst all of the dreck that the writers delivered for this episode. It's a bummer. Because I feel like, it is a bummer when you have a host that wants to be there and wants to do a good job and they're not given the opportunity. And we've seen it, before, but.
Yeah, I really like you guys, so I hope you get a good episode soon.
Thanks, Thomas. Well, if not, hopefully Flip Wilson season 1 is banger.
I'm going to jump off this train, but I hope you guys get a good episode
Good luck.
soon.
This also isn't the season to like save a host. You know what I mean? Like this season's not like pulling a subpar host and carrying them on their shoulders, unfortunately.
No, not at all. Well, Thomas, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for letting me chat about Bill Russell and of course Chicago and clown around with you guys. It's always a pleasure, genuinely.
Always great to have you. What do you and Jeremy have coming
Well,
up?
we're out of time tonight, but next week on the podcast, we'll be...
What do you guys have coming up on your podcast?
Yeah, so actually, back in August, we were celebrating 100 episodes. We already did. We've kind of come that far. Yeah, so we did a couple really neat things in celebration of that that people should go back and check out. So we did a fan Q&A. One of our listeners actually came on with us and did a little Q&A with us and asked us questions from a fan perspective about the podcast. So Jeremy and I got to reminisce and talk about the pod and all of that. So that was great. And then we have this Spotify playlist of all the songs that we've chosen during our music episodes. We actually did an episode where we put that playlist on shuffle and talked about whatever song that came up for like 5 minutes or so.
Oh, awesome.
So we just did a music retrospective, and we didn't know, obviously, at the, while we were recording, what song was going to come up. So it was really fun for me and Jeremy to just kind of like, oh, this song came up, and just kind of reminisce for a few minutes about certain songs. So that we just did that in celebration of 100 episodes. A lot of cool stuff here, a lot of really great music episodes. We did Led Zeppelin songs. We're doing horror movies. Jeremy and I aren't huge horror movie fans, but we decided to put ourselves to the test and talk about the ones that we do enjoy. So horror movies. So just a lot of cool stuff here at a Pop Culture 5.
I feel like
Nice.
horror movies is one that you'll get a lot of feedback from horror fans because they're a passionate group.
They really are. They're intense. I think we'll do them proud, though.
Good. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see if we get Thomas back in one more time before we hang it up here at the end of season 5. See what we can pull off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chicago. Just any band that has funky white guys having a blast on stage.
I mean, there is a show, the 100th episode has Paul Simon, James Taylor, and David Sanborn.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Thank you, Thomas. It's always fun to have you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Next week, we'll be talking about season 5, episode 4 with host Buck Henry and musical guest Brad. I'm excited about this.
I know.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
It's got to be a good one. It's got to be good.
Yeah, it'll be. Until then, good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. Look for us on social media everywhere at NR4PT Project. And please drop us a line to let us know what you think of the shows. And frankly, because we're kind of lonely, at nr4ptproject@gmail.com. The Not Ready for Primetime Project team includes Brad Robinson and Gary Seith. Our announcer is Jason Taylor, who is not doing his job announcing these end credits. Edited by Topher Bagley, and the original music by Jacob Spiewak. Please remember to rate and review wherever you watch and or listen to the show. Thanks for listening. Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Brad, why do you do this? Do you do this to hurt us?